Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to For the Record episode number 8. Today we have with us PA System from Chennai, and today we have with us all 5 members of the band. We have Ashwin, we have Pratyush, we have Prashant, we have Hriday, and we have Arvind. So, guys, hi, welcome. How are you all today?
Hey, we're good. How are you?
I'm great. New EP done. I mean, it must be a great feeling finishing it off and releasing it to the public.
Definitely.
I mean, looking back at your live recordings and stuff like that, I've seen you had 2 songs written for a very long time already.
Yes. Two of them were written previously. One was written during the course of the pandemic.
Right. So, were you all planning to actually put out an EP, or was it just coincidence that it happened?
I guess we did plan it out.
It just I don't think any of us like we planned to release music. We just had like a basic idea of doing that. Uh, but we really like the third song came along really well when we just started writing that one together during the pandemic, and these three songs just made sense together. So it was like it felt like a perfect combination releasing it.
Talking about your EP, like you all have stated it multiple times in your articles or wherever you got covered that your influences were clearly like the early 2000s in alternative indie pop and such as Coldplay and stuff. So, but I wanted to know personally of all of you, all 5 members, what have your influences been over in life?
Okay. Uh, since I write the songs, I guess I have always been into stuff that's a little more lyrically inclined. Like I've always been a little more lyrically inclined. So I listen to John Mayer a lot, and then I kind of got into. So I actually kind of started singing because I used to kind of sing like I used to sing along to the Eagles back when I had a Walkman, and I just kind of realized that this is something I could do. I guess that so I kind of listened to Love Will Keep Us Alive, and I guess like the poetic aspect really got to me, and then I kind of moved into John Mayer, which was heavy stuff lyrically, but it was new. Like for me, it was like a new territory altogether. Then I kind of moved into like Britpop stuff like Oasis and stuff, and then Coldplay. Like I had like there was like a bunch of songs that I had heard, but I had no idea who they were before. Then so like lyrically it all just came together, and I think John Mayer has definitely been one of the biggest influences for me, and it's somebody who I really look up to, and probably want to write like someday. I guess.
Nice. Ashwin, what would you say? I think you're even you know the producer, let's say. So, what have your influences been in producing or songwriting or anything as such?
So, I mean, like when we talk about contributing for the band, a lot, a lot of the way like the chords are structured and everything that interests me a lot, and all that comes from stuff I've been listening to from school. So it all started like, I mean, it all started with like basic Linkin Park, Green Day stuff, but then it slowly moved on to Red Hot Chili Peppers, again like John Mayer and Oasis. For me, also were like a huge, they were a huge part of my collection of influences, and then. At some point, like obviously I play the keys, but then just watching guitarists and watching them play, like even that was a huge part of for my influences. So like watching Stevie Ray Vaughan play or watching John Mayer play, I mean that played a huge role in the way I play my music. So or the way I put down my ideas onto the keys. So even to me, it was like basically John Mayer. Phineas right now is a huge influence. Billie Eilish is a huge influence, and yeah, I guess that's about it.
Rida, you seem to be quite the guitarist. I would say I love listening to your clips on Instagram.
Thank you.
So what would you say your influences would be over the years?
Well, I guess basically when I was younger, I used to play keys. I wasn't a guitarist at that point. And I used to listen to a lot of, like Pratyush said, the Eagles, and there was this particular solo, the Hotel California, that solo. And I used to ask my teacher kind of like, how can I play this on keyboard? And he used to like look at me like, it's not possible. So then later on when I grew up, then I really wanted to pick up the guitar, and at that point I picked it up, and then I was listening to a lot of classic rock, so Eagles, Led Zeppelin, even AC/DC, all of that. So it had a big influence on me. Um, then later on, I kind of widened my horizons and started producing EDM, which is like a very it's a polar opposite
I
type
can
of thing
relate. I was
to
into
this
that as
stuff,
well.
but oh,
Right.
that's great. So exactly, so it didn't make a lot of sense to me at first, but the more I got into it, it helped me improve and like widen my horizons that way. Then eventually, I used to listen to a bit of Coldplay back in school, but when I met the band, like they got me into their Coldplay's earlier stuff, which was like the writing was really good on that, and like even the harmonies and everything was just amazing. And so when I kind of joined the band, I had to kind of adapt my playing style to serve the songs that they were trying to write. So that way, it was really like a big learning experience for me. This entire
Yeah,
thing. The
it's
only place where I could do like the classic rock thing was like and save me a little bit,
Right.
like with the solo in
Yeah.
the end. But yeah, it was really fun working with them.
Arvind,
So
what would you say? I'm currently in the process of learning drums, so I'd love to hear about your interests and what influenced you as a drummer.
Definitely. I think very early on, I was more exposed to Indian classical and used to be a lot of Carnatic and Hindustani, played around the house. And I think I just soaked that in at a very young age. And I mean, I've been to classes, and I think I was fortunate to realize that one of my strengths was rhythm. And I used to like annoy everybody around the house by like just playing on instruments and like vessels and all these things. So I guess yeah, so classical music has been a big. I mean, it has really improved my sense and understanding of rhythm. But I guess when I started listening to music a little more consciously and start to appreciate like the different aspects of it, I think I started listening to like like very early like whatever was the popular hits back then, like Usher and all these all these kind of stuff. And those I think those like EDM dance beats and all that really like I mean not just the beat but also the production and all these things that went into it kind of caught my ear. And I think it was just, and I didn't know how to play drums. Actually, like, even the guys can tell you that I kind of picked up playing drums, I think a year before I joined the band. And I think all the music that I've been listening to kind of helped me fast track the progress of trying to like find out the right dynamics and trying to like understand exactly what to play and what suits the song. And yeah, I guess right now my influences would be Tom Misch. Even though he's a guitarist and producer, some of the beats he makes is just, I mean, it blows my mind. Him, then there's Wolfpack, and all these new age bands that are coming out. And I think that has really inspired me. So those are some of my
Right, no
influences.
man. I mean, Wolfpack. I think it's everyone's influences. Yeah, you meet any musicians like Wolfpack, like
Yeah,
yeah, we love Wolfpack. They're so
exactly.
good. Pra- Prashant, I'm a bassist myself, so I'm very excited to know about what you have as your influences. And let me tell you this: I dig your style actually, with all your glares, with in all your performances and your photos. It's absolutely swagger. So please tell me, what are your influences?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, initially, when I was young, I listened to a lot of Indian film music and mostly Tamil because I'm a basic. Yeah, that's my mother tongue. So I've listened. I've grown up listening to a lot of Rahman, a lot of Ilaiyaraaja, and so on and so forth. So that was my influence initially. But then, as I grew up, I figured out bands like Linkin Park, Guns N' Roses, Green Day, and then for a brief period, I was into metal for some
Right.
reason. So Metallica was a really big influence, and Iron Maiden, and I was kind of into the like the early metal, not the prog.
Right.
Yeah. Then as a bassist though, I picked up the bass again. Just it's been 2 years now, I guess, since I've picked up the bass. So initially, as influences, I would usually listen to this one particular bassist in Chennai called Naveen Napier. He's really good. So I would usually listen to him and see what he does and how he tries to complement the song and how he, you know, uh, tries to complement the song with his instrument. But
Right.
then I started discovering various artists such as Joe Dart from Wolfpack again.
Yep.
There's Flea from RHCP, right? So there are a lot of bassists, and so I picked up, like, I just listened to a lot of songs and see what they did and how they went about like serving the song with the bass and not and like because the bass literally just has to serve the song. That's
Right.
what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. That's cool to know. That's great to know. I mean, uh, I believe you all are from different cities.
Actually, all of us are students from the KM Music Conservatory. Just because of the pandemic, we're scattered.
That's what I was interested in knowing actually. How did you all come together? I mean, of course, you were students in the conservatory, but uh, how did the forming of PA system come about?
Okay, I'll take that question. Pratyush and I are roommates. We view flatmates, and we still are. We just are in different cities because of COVID. And we started off as a duo, actually. So Pratyush used to write songs, and then he used to sing them to me, and then I tried to, complement them with my keys, and then I slowly started, writing the chords for the songs and changing things here and there, and that's how some of our first few songs came to be. Later, after writing a whole set of songs, we kind of realized that to play these songs on stage, or that's how it started. To play these songs on stage, we need a bigger group of people, because in our heads the song sounded huge, they sounded big, but just the both of us with the cajon player couldn't pull it off. So we needed like a full band to you know basically put down whatever's in our heads. So that's how it started off. And in our college, I mean, we wanted to, it was not like we went out scouting for people, but in our heads somewhere we knew that, okay, we'd seen these people play, and they would, definitely suit our style. So that's how we picked at least like Hriday and Prashant out, and Hriday had reference us to Arvind, and he said that, I know Arvind is really good and we can try him out and stuff. And later, after a year, all of us came together. So it started off as a duo, and then we all of us came together.
Right. Well, going on the same tangent, why PA system? I mean, I'm sure there's a story to it.
So even when like Pratyush and me were together, like Pratyush and I were together, and we wanted a
Right.
name for ourselves, we always performed by the name Pratyush and Ashwin. So, and at that point
Right.
in time, our the abbreviations PA and system, it sounded really quirky, but then we were
Right.
too lazy to change it. Maybe I don't know. Like when the guys joined, we were like, okay, can we call this PA system? And they were like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's just call it PA system. So it was
Right.
more or less
Right.
that.
Right. I mean, talking about songwriting and how you started a band, do you think having, mm, how should I put this? Like, let's say that you have multiple members in a band. Is it easier to write a song with many members than just two of you, or would you say it's the experience is opposite of it? What would you say? What would you say about that?
Well, when it was just Ashwin and me, it was I I think it's a bit of both actually, because even now, uh, like, although this is not the only way we write together as a band, if I write something down I I throw it over chords and then I pitch it to the band, then all of us kind of break it down again and then build it back up. But when it was just Ashwin and me, it was kind of similar, but it was almost always around that structure. So it was probably a bit faster, but I think using the same process with the band is a lot more efficient, and I think the songs are a lot better for sure, because a lot more ideas, and plus like because it's like two minds compared to like five minds working together. So I think it may be like it might take us a little more time to write than it would have taken two people to write, but it's definitely like the songs are definitely better, and I definitely enjoy writing with the band a lot more.
More than that, I think it's actually about playing with the band together, because when we sit down, we build upon something that Pratyush has written. Everyone carries their own influences, and they just throw their parts in and stuff. And then when you actually hear it come out live, I think that experience is a lot better than just two people in their room in their heads thinking that okay, this might sound big when you play it, but when it's actually happening in front of you, it's a great feeling.
Definitely. Talking about performing live, so we all have been performing a lot before this. I would say played at the Cove Long Point Surf and even the Global SI Fest. Do you all miss performing live? I mean, of course you do, but what do you miss about it the most?
I think I think the thrill of it all and the adrenaline, basically, because I mean, out of all of us, like three of us are like major introverts, but I don't know, just standing on stage, it just feels right, because like mid song, I never find myself freaking out ever, because I know that like that's I mean that like it's kind of harmonious, because when I'm playing, I know that this is what I have to do, this is what I have to play, and I have to sing. And I know that if I do it just right, and I know that everyone else will do their parts just right. So I'm never scared on stage. So it's just a happy feeling.
Right.
So I guess that's what I really miss.
Right. Right. Definitely makes sense. So how's the album coming about?
So this is we are looking at an early 2021 release, and this was actually supposed to be our second album. The songs that Pratyush and I wrote was supposed to come out first, but then we realized no, these songs are like way better, people need to hear this, so we're putting this out first. And yeah, there's a single coming out from the album Folio around Feb, and then the album comes out a little bit later.
Right. So, in the terms of influences and songwriting style, would you say it would be similar to your EP, or are you going to switch it up a bit?
Sure. Okay. So actually most of the songs on the album are were written around the same time as the songs, two of the songs in the EP, and then a few were written like the third song on the EP through uh, like remotely from our homes. So the good thing is that we were all in like a similar headspace when we wrote the songs as compared to the EP. So and we were having around the same influences. So in that sense, I guess, yeah, it'll be a little similar to the EP, but we're really experimenting with a lot of different genres. Apart from just what we presented in the EP, like a lot of us, even like the parts for our individual instruments and everything, it comes a lot more directly from our influences. Like uh, the songs that were on the EP, like they were kind of written after the band was formed, and all of them. And this one, like some of them were written just by Pratish and Ashwin. We arranged it for the band later on. So I guess that also makes a bit of a difference in terms of how much we contributed individually to the composition. So I guess, yeah, it's a lot more varied, definitely, in terms of the entire textures and the atmosphere that like the band brings into the picture. So I think it'll be like showcasing a bunch of different sides
Right.
of our influences and everything that we have to offer as a band.
That's awesome. I think you'll have been in the scene for the past 2 years now, 2018, 2019, been performing around a lot, playing live a lot. What would you say are your favorite acts in the scene from India that you all love and you would like me or our audience to check out? Because I'm sure you might have a lot of favorite artists out there in India.
For me, I tend to follow the indie scene quite a lot. But for me, I do it. I mean, when the band started out, I wanted to kind of see how other bands, who've taken a similar direction, how they went about this. So we basically, superficially, we are an Indian indie band writing English music, right? So I tried and followed some bands from in that niche zone, and then I found I really like the F16s. There's a band from Chennai called Big Sam. I enjoy their music too. But then I think for me, I think F16s have lately they've been they've influenced me a lot because they have their own style. I think in India, I think I don't know if there's an indie act like them because they're extremely they're extremely in the sense that they're very Tame Impala, Home Shake, Kuko kind of an act, which is not really easy to find in India, and also
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
not many people who
Go ahead,
appreciate
Vance. Go ahead.
those that genre in India. I haven't seen it yet. Even if you talk about film music, it's there, but it's really less. It's usually sidelined. So I think I really like the F16s, and yeah,
Even there's some acts like Pineapple Express too. It's a Bangalore-based band. So I mean, even though they're not our genre, I guess for me it's a big influence for sure. Because like I mean, it's just the amount of like the musicianship that they bring to the table is amazing in the music. So I really enjoy listening to that, and also Black Star Blues, Warren Mendoza. He's been a great influence on my playing and overall like his musicality is just amazing. So I think these are acts that anyone should check out.
Definitely. I mean, with the amount of talent there is in India in terms of songwriting, musicmanship, and stuff like that, uh, it makes me wonder sometimes why Indian bands don't break out into the international scene. I actually asked this exact question to a lot of my guests. So, what do you all think Indian musicians or artists need to do to get that level of exposure or that level of artist artistic reach, that because I really believe that Indian bands, some of our Indian bands are extremely talented, be it in the metal genre or stuff like indie pop, and you all as well, PA System. I mean that the EP, I've had it on repeat for the past 1 month ever since you all have put it out. It just makes me wonder what Indians could do to actually break out in the scene. What do you all think about that?
I think as opposed to other countries, here especially like film music is given much more importance, and anything that's related to that is kind of pushed and promoted. And independent music is just starting out in that sense. Although it's been there for a long time, it's definitely taken a much longer time to grow to whatever it is now compared to the other countries, their independent music scenes. It's not really like it's very hard explaining to people that you're independent as such. They don't understand what it means. So I think a lot of it has to do with educating and like giving a lot of exposure to the public and not just musicians within. Like right now, it's like it shouldn't be in only musicians who listen to our work. It has to be anybody, even laymen, anyone should have that exposure to our music. And I think that's the major, like a single most contributing factor to pushing Indian bands onto the international scene, because it has to come from our country first before it goes anywhere else. So I think that's what's most important.
I think a lot of that is true also because here the awareness in the general public is like most of the music that they consume comes from films only. The very fact that a whole separate scene exists for this, the general public are not too aware about that. Only people like us who are really into this actually know that okay, there's something going on. But internationally, I mean, most of those Britpop bands that we spoke about, like Oasis, Coldplay, or even in the US, there's a whole separate scene for music and for film. So I think that plays a huge role as well because there are two different things you can pay attention to. Here, there's just film and music is consumed with it. So I think that is like a major reason.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, talking about audiences consuming your music, which cities that you have performed in do you think has the most, let's say, musically literate audience?
As a band, we've not gotten out of Chennai yet because we started, and when the band came about, we wrote these songs, we wrote the EP, and then like COVID came around, so we performed only in Chennai. But from all the acts that are around us, we heard that Bangalore is a great Bangalore and Pune are like great places.
Yeah, Pune is very
Yeah.
diverse in that aspect, that you can find everything from solo artists having just an acoustic guitar to proper prog metal acts. I mean, yeah, the diversity is huge. It's great.
Right.
It's great. Uh, uh, Talking about stuff like this and support coming from your the artists, for artists and the artists, how did AR Rahman's backing to your EP turn out for you all? I mean, that must have been pretty exciting, man. I mean, that's AR Rahman. Like, come on.
We didn't know until like after 4 5 hours,
Yeah, I was actually so I was actually sleeping when my friend sent me a he sent me a screenshot, and I honestly thought he was joking. So I told him to uh, not play jokes like this until I went to Twitter myself and I saw it for my I saw it, and I had a I had a panic attack, so I sent it to the band, and then they had the same panic attack again.
Yeah.
So
and funny enough, Prashant was never on Twitter. He joined Twitter because of this.
yeah, it was crazy. Because we weren't expecting anything. Honestly, we just wanted people to listen and enjoy the music. That's it.
I think it's also interesting because not just for us, obviously we were excited as a band, that we got that kind of attention, but the overall scene also comes up, right? Just maybe it'll just be a one repeat for him, but then if music like our music gains that kind of attention, then it'll help everybody and all the artists. So in that sense, it was a really nice feeling actually.
Yeah, because like that's the kind of that's the kind of education that Hriday was talking about. Because of India being like a film dominated music space, somebody like him retweeting like an indie band's like an indie band's EP, that itself kind of brings like a spotlight to the scene here, to say that there's there are other bands as well, which is really helpful. So yeah, totally
Right.
what Arvind said, definitely.
Talking about AR Rahman and the KM Conservatory, what do you think? How much big of a role does it play uh, to your reach? In my opinion, I mean that there are millions of indie artists in India, and I'm sure not every one of them gets that amount of reach that you all have been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. So, how do you think it has helped you, the KM Conservatory?
I can't speak much about the reach, but in terms of getting our, getting the final product of our EP, we have so many like-minded people making, the kind of music, and getting a really professional final product. I think it kind of gives us, it puts us in like healthy competition with them. It kind of pushes us to make like a really professional sounding and good sounding record per se. So
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like it's a good community, and the entire fact that you put out music and we'll support you, and when I put out music, you do the same. That exists, and I really like that, because like there's nothing to be said about it. It just happens, and people just cooperate, and it's a nice space to be in. And honestly, like what I take most from KM is the fact that it brought the band together, and like and I really hold that point like close to me, because uh that all of us were in that institute together, and we met through that institute. So I think, yeah, again, I can't speak about the reach, like just as Ashwin said, but I can say that I'm grateful that it brought the band together, for sure.
It's actually like any other community, because say if you were releasing independent music, your friends are like right there to support you. I think it does the same thing, but it's just that it's a huge organization and an institution, and it's good to be backed by them. So I think
Right.
be happy about it.
Definitely. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, I mean, I personally love all your songs, and your songwriting seems impeccable. So, I'd like for you to give us some insights or some tips for budding artists in our community, or even myself, because I write songs. I too am an artist. I have my own psychedelic rock outfit known as Road Trip to Andromeda. So,
Well, that's a good yet complicated question. I think I think it's very simple because I write what makes sense to me, and I think anyone who writes should do the same. Because because if you write about something that is really important to you and really makes sense to you, there for sure is like a group of people just like you who would relate to it. So Save Me is like, I wrote it about like leaving a place that was like really bugging me out, and people really related to that because apparently that's something that happens to people too. So like that basically in terms of, yeah, so keep it simple. I think that's what I would say. That's what I try to do. I'm not there yet in any way, shape, or form, but I'm trying. uh, Keep it simple and write what you think is right, honestly. In terms of tips, I kind of bank on this thing that John Mayer said, that no matter how bad you think the song you're writing is, finish it before you move on to the next one. Because if you don't and you move on to the next one, some of that negative energy just kind of overlaps onto the next one. So finish that song you're writing, even if you may never play it again, but finish it so that you get kind of like a closure on what you're trying to do. I think this is kind of what I thrive in, or what I've been thriving in for quite some time now. And definitely listen to a lot of people, for sure. Like people you like, people you want to write like, or just stuff that makes you feel something. Writing is supposed to make you feel something. So I've been listening to Alec Benjamin and Lizzie McAlpine and Bruno Major, and it's because not like they may inspire you, but also they may provoke something in you, like a story that you never thought you possessed or something like that. So definitely listen to a lot of other
definitely
music as well.
makes sense. What would you say, Hriday, about this?
I could add, but not to the songwriting aspect, more about the music aspect of the thing, like how we are arranging the songs and all that. I would say be very open-minded to the rest of your band members. Like allow their influences to come in, and like give them space for adding in their own thing. And when they're trying to do something, let them do it, and let's like see if it works out. Like see an idea through. So we always have that in the sense, like we never reject an idea when it's just like trying to come in. So if somebody says something, it's we try it out. We always make sure we try it out, and we follow it through, and then we see if it works in the context of the song. So that's the way we've kind of made sure that our music kind of stays fresh, because a lot of us will be listening to different music at different periods of time, and all of those influences start bubbling in our music as well. So then we kind of have to make sure it all like blossoms, and then after that we see which can work and which we might need to discard depending on what we're trying to do. So I guess being open-minded to your fellow band members is like one of the most important things when you're trying to make it.
I think I'll just add a small point. Like, I think us as band members, we all have a very, like a high standard of music that we aim to achieve. I'm not saying we are perfectionists, but we all, because we all have a really high standard, we work towards it. And if something's not good and something's not working, we're vocal about it, and it's all in the the aim to ensure that we have the best possible product that we can create. And to add to that, like actively for the live performance aspect, I mean, we were in rehearsals for like basically every single day of the week before one performance, like, and because each one of us has that high sense of um, standard of quality, I think that's something that shows in our music. I hope it does, because I think that's also an important aspect of cutting it, making it into the scene, and and just people connecting with your music. You have to have a really high standard. I mean, and try to work towards it.
Right. Definitely makes sense. Uh, Going on a tangent here, talking about how you all practiced each day of the week before single performances. How did you all circumvent against burnouts? Because personally, being an artist, I am aware how the creative process can be an enduring one, a tiring one. So, as a band or as friends, how did you cope up with such incidents or such episodes of having a burnout or anything as
Yes, it
such?
has happened. Um, yeah, but the thing is, like, the one thing that I guess we can bet on is that not all five of us are going to be burnt out at the same time. So at least one person has something inspiring to say or do, and that kind of helps us get along. Like, in very rare instances, it's been like, all of us kind of feel like, okay, nothing new is coming. We really need to struggle for an idea or something. But most of the time, uh, either Ashwin or me or Prashant or Pratyush, we come up with something, and then that kind of inspires the rest of the people to carry on and do things. So that way, I guess, like, we rejuvenate each other in terms of the creativity, and that's a really great part of the entire, like, how we work as a band. So for us, that's a big plus point. I would say, if you do get any type of writer's block, I guess the best advice is to walk away from music for a little bit, step outside, do something else, and then come back to it. Because I strongly believe that to make any type of art, not just music, you need to have something to say apart from the art itself that you're portraying through the music. So that's what I believe. So you need to get some kind of experience, whether that be life experience or something that you can kind of instill into your music, so that it has something to do with more than the art itself. It's not just art for art's sake. It has something more special to it. That's basically it.
And a lot of these, yeah, a lot of these sessions, practice sessions, were also. I mean, we were not practicing the same songs again and again. A lot of times, and very often, they just, we write on the spot and we keep building on new songs. So every session, something new is happening. So the very scope for burnout, it's there. Obviously, before a session, you might just want to like pack up and go home and then play the next day. But a lot of times we just try something new, or we try and change up a song, and we try something new every time. So that's a really fun process, and it definitely reduces
Right.
some scope for burnout.
Definitely makes sense. Makes sense. Uh, I mean, I guess that sums it up, guys. It's been great talking to you all. I had a blast getting insights into your band and what you think about your music and this. Thank you for coming on to For the Record. I wish you all the best for your next album, and I sincerely hope we can see you back on this podcast time and again, because I genuinely enjoy talking to you and I genuinely love your music. And I'll be the first you'll be hearing from when your album drops. Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much for having us. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
a lot. Thank you so much.
So that's it, guys. That was PA System for you all. Hope you had a wonderful time listening to us talk. I certainly did. Please check out their EP on days like this on all streaming platforms. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram at For the Record India and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tune in every Saturday for new episodes and be good to each other. See you all.